Breaking tonight in our sports lead, shock and outrage. FIFA faces backlash over its plan to create a $20 billion operation to run the World Cup with private investors. The coalition of 55 European teams is boycotting all future competitions if FIFA's new investment plan passes. And another organization that includes the United States is rejecting the proposal. Now, part of the anger is directed at the main proposed investor group, Thrive Eternal. That's headed up by Joshua Kushner, the younger brother of Jared Kushner, President Trump's son-in-law. So let's talk all about this with CNN's Christina McFarland and two soccer experts with The Athletic, senior writers Megan Linehan and Felipe Cardenas. Thank you so much for coming on. So Christina, to you first. After unanimously voting to boycott future FIFA competitions, part of the statement from this European coalition, it's known as UEFA, reads, quote, "No part of it should ever be surrendered to private investors. The World Cup is not for sale." What about this deal makes it so controversial?
Yeah, Pamela, look, what we saw from UEFA today was a furious rebuke to what Gianni Infantino has been trying to do here, which is to commercialize the World Cup through the sale to private entities without notifying its members, its leaders, or even, FIFA members within his own orbit, including apparently his own vice president. So the plan for this FIFA Forward Enterprise, or FFE, as it's been called, is to sell stakes in its World Cup competitions to private investors through a commercial entity that will run its main events. Now, the one company that's being earmarked to lead this investor group is the investment fund Thrive Capital, which is being run by Jared Kushner's brother, his younger brother, Joshua Kushner. So Gianni Infantino, at this point, he came out yesterday and said that all FIFA federations, 211 of them, have got until September the 19th to sign on to this deal. And in return, they could receive anywhere in the region of up to $40 million for doing so. He is insistent that this is an offer and not an obligation. But quite honestly, that is not how many of these federations are viewing this, hence the reason why we saw such a unanimous and strong boycott today.
So, Felipe, how do you see this playing out? Will FIFA's plan pass without European or North American support?
Well, we have to wait and see. I think right now we are in the backlash stage of this, not necessarily the fallout yet, but right now 96 of the 211 FIFA national associations have come out and opposed this plan. So you're nearing a majority here. I think we still have plenty to go. We haven't heard from South America at the time of, we haven't heard from Africa. We haven't heard from the Asian Confederation either. And those are key allies, I think, of FIFA President Gianni Infantino. So the way this plays out is we have 24, 48 hours to find out what these confederations are going to say. It does feel like the inevitability of a commercialization arm for FIFA perhaps is something that doesn't happen this week, but perhaps it's part of the future of the sport. And that is really what is upsetting a lot of the fans. And that's been coming out of the reports out of the UK as well, that you're hearing actually members of these associations saying that this is everything from irresponsible to indefensible. So I think when cooler heads prevail, perhaps these dialogues are more professional. But right now, Gianni Infantino having a bit of a PR crisis that he's having to deal with at a global scale right now.
And Meg, the pressure is on FIFA to resolve the standoff with UEFA because there's a lot of upcoming competitions, right? The big one is next year's Women's World Cup, but the Under-20 Women's World Cup starts in September, followed by several others. As someone whose beat is women's soccer, are you hearing about any changes to these upcoming tournaments?
There haven't been any announced changes at this point, but I do think, to your point, the U20 competition is actually being hosted by Poland, which is, of course, a member nation of UEFA, the European contingent. So there is a potential that this tournament could be canceled or rescheduled if it's not immediately reconciled as to next steps. But also, the senior national teams are in the middle of World Cup qualifying, and the next round of qualifiers for the 2027 World Cup for Europe are set to start in October. England is a part of those. Like, these are massive teams involved in World Cup qualifying still. And so to me, the really unfair part of this is every part of this plan has been focused on the Men's World Cup, men in general, and the women are set to pay the more immediate price for Infantino's plans.
So just to follow up with you, Meg, the 2023 Women's World Cup generated $570 million in revenue, and FIFA is projecting $1 million for 2027. Is there a world where FIFA's new investment plan could even surpass that?
So what I do think is interesting is FIFA has finally split up media rights for the men's and women's World Cup. So now women's World Cup is finally earning its own valuation alongside the men. But to be fair, FIFA has also historically undervalued basically every single women's project. It feels like based off the success of 2026, there's really no end in sight to how much money FIFA thinks they could make off of major tournaments. The challenge is, is the soul of the sport itself up for sale? Hydration breaks are one of the main topics of this World Cup and the commercial impact they could have. So right now, it just feels like FIFA is willing to extract every single ounce of value they can get out of major tournaments.
How do you see it, Felipe? Do you think it could be a good thing for women's soccer on a global scale?
I mean, I think right now it's difficult to say. Obviously, there are going to be member associations, both from the men's and the women's side, that see this as an opportunity to try to play at a more even playing field from a financial perspective. I think the way this has been rolled out, though, and to Meg's point, what we've seen in the past in terms of FIFA's obligations and the responsibilities of women, with women's sports and women's soccer, it doesn't paint a very nice picture. And so I think that's what's really concerning everyone, is that the fallout is going to be just as loud as the backlash. And right now, we don't really see who the winners are in terms of the sport and the product of football.
All right. Thank you all so much for coming on and sharing your reporting and perspective. We appreciate it.